All right, CNBT 1311, we are back. This is video 8.2, folding and pocket sliding doors. Folding doors means it's just that, it folds. It folds. Is a designation of how it's going to fold to. Pocket sliding doors, this is how you show it. Let's see. And again, we talked about pocket sliding doors. Okay. And oh, this is the head of a folding door. Here's that track that I showed you up here, and that's how you adjust the level of the door. All right. This is the jamb. You have a top and bottom pivot, and you don't have any jamb hardware. In other words, there's no hinges in here. Okay. And this is the floor. There's that pivot inset that screw to the floor or attached to the floor, and then there is your pivot pin, your bottom pivot. These things are generally spring loaded, so that at least one of them spring loaded, so you can slide that up with a screwdriver, slide the door in, and then drop the pivot in the pivot receiver. Okay, pocket door is the same. We have a upper track, and as you can see, your structural members are narrow wood, which makes the pocket of the door less secure, less strong than the normal framed wall. And we talked about that. We talked about pocket doors. This gives you a more expanded detail of the upper track. And you adjust this with the same threaded nut and screw, and try to get this all level and everything. And so that when it closes against the jamb, it's level across here. Now, some people will they'll build a tongue, not a tongue, a groove. It'll be a pocket, a door pocket, so that when this slides through here, it has something to keep it from sliding back and forth in this direction. This is just trim material. Trim material. All right. Okay. They generally have a floor guide, and they do say floor space for door swings and such, and there's a place for these, but overhead coiling doors. You're not going to be an overhead door expert. You will get with your overhead door company and figure out whether it's going to be a conventional overhead door like in a garage that has a track that it runs up and over, or a commercial coil door where the door coils up into the receiver, like in an industrial warehouse or something like that. And these overhead doors and coil doors can be insulated. It can be fire rated, and it depends on how much money you want to spend. But you will get with your overhead door company that you're going to specify for your project, and use their recommended details. You want to consult the door manufacturer. Trust me, you do, in all installation requirements. So that's enough on overhead doors, coiling doors. Glass entrance doors. This is just one big glass panel. You've probably seen some of these in some showers. My walk-in shower in the bathroom I remodeled, I've got a glass wall and glass doors. This takes a special talented construction person. Mine are frameless. They'll come in. These are tempered glass. They have special drills to drill the holes for the hinges and the latches and the pull handles. And you will get with your glass door manufacturer and installer to come up with the right details on these things. You can have glass frame doors where there's a frame around the door. Okay. These things are constructed of heat strengthened or tempered glass with or without rails and stiles. And you may see some of these on some entrance doors for commercial projects, but you'll also see them in bathrooms. Again, you will consult your manufacturer. You will consult your manufacturer. If not, you're going to have a bad experience. Trust me. All right, transom bar or head jamb. Mine does not have a head jamb in the bathroom because there's a space between here and the finished ceiling. But if this is an entrance door, and these are exterior doors, then you will have a transom or head bar. Again, this all comes from your manufacturer. This would be for a glass panel without stile or rails, and there's your threshold detail down there. This is a frameless door section. This is a frame door section. This would be the bottom rail. That's the top rail. There's your transom bar or your header, whatever you want to call it. And then you're looking at the stile right here. You're looking into the stile through this section. They may be offset to the frame. They may be inset to the frame. They may be double acting or single acting. If it's a commercial, they got to open outside to the exterior. Pivoted doors are carried on a swing about the center of the offset. Okay. Again, these details will come from your manufacturer when you're designing your project. Now, automatic doors, like for ADA doors and automatic entrance doors, at the approach of a person or automobile when actuated by a radio transmitter or motion detector or countless other things, they'll automatically open up. Or an ADA push button. If you're going to do a pivoted heavy glass door, you really want them balanced. I wouldn't, they're easier to open and they take less energy from your opener. Storefronts or window walls. This is different than a curtain wall. These things come, depending on how big your span is, what the distance is, these things can come out in a single piece. They can come out in two pieces. They can come out in sticks where they assemble them on site and then put the glazing in here. There's details for that. Your mileage is going to vary. There are so many different ways that these manufacturers claim that they have the best thing to do. And I'm not saying they're wrong. But this is all pre-fabricated. Even if they come out in pieces, they're pre-cut and pre-assembled and they're numbered so that the assembler and safest thing to do is have the manufacturer you're buying this from use their assembly crew. That's what they do day in and day out. Okay, and it can be framed or off-centered. It can be frame centered or off-centered. There's just countless ways of doing this. Okay, let's see what he does over here. A glass mullion system is a glazing system in which sheets of tempered glass are suspended from special clamps. All right, they drill holes through that glass with special drills, and they've got hangers on them. And again, your mileage is going to vary depending on the system. The butt joint is just that. The glass sets is a butt, okay, with a silicon sealant in between. I don't particularly care for these because it's a hazard over the life cycle of the structure. These are easier to seal. It's easier to stay within a modular framework like this, so that these details, you have the pre-molded gaskets that come in the glazing system, and you let your manufacturer guide you on this. These come in all colors, anodizing, shapes, sizes, wind resistant strength, fire retardant. You can even get these mullions filled with foam if you need to for transmission. The typical cheapo storefront like this is a heat. I mean, it transmits cold and heat like nobody's business. Alright, revolving doors. You may see these in some higher end hotels. Some of them are motorized where they're continually moving. Some of them are motorized with motion detector. When you step in, it starts to rotate, and then you have to get in sync with the rotation. If not, this one's going to hit you in the rear end and push you along. So you can read about the revolving doors, and most of them I've seen are 4 panels. There are some that are 3. Most of them are 4. They've got to be sealed in here, and they usually will set these in a window wall system. Like there's a restaurant in New Orleans that has one of these. I don't remember what the name of the restaurant is, but they use a revolving door. The hotel we stayed in Toronto last summer has a big revolving door, and they also, on each side of the revolving door, they have a normal passage door. And why is that? ADA. Can you imagine being in a wheelchair and trying to navigate a revolving door? That's a disaster. Okay. All right. ADA. When I was in Toronto, I was still on a cane before I had my back operation in September, and I was able to navigate this, but the maitre d' really tried to encourage me to go through the ADA door, but my frail male ego wouldn't let me. Said, I can do this, and I did. But they'll have an ADA passage on the sides of these things. All right, door hardware. All right, let me check the time on this, because this is important. You need to pay attention to what I'm fixing to say in this section of this video. I'm telling you. All right, now we got time. All right, you read through all of this. Your hinges should be equally spaced. A good door will have 3 sets of hinges, an exterior door. And again, told you these had to be mortised in and equally spaced. From the top to the first set of hinges, Ching uses 11 3/4 inch maximum, which is a good number, and then 13-inch maximum from the threshold up to the center line of the first hinge. We take a long mortise gauge, a template, and clamp it to the door, and then I get my mortise bit on my router, and then I would route out for the hinges. And you've got to know which way the door is going to swing. Is it a left hand out, left hand in, right hand out? And this is where we get into the potato thing, and it does matter. If not, you are going to have a door brought to your site that is not going to work for you. You've got to be careful. All right. Hardware selection factors. Function, ease of operation. You can read down through all of this. Material finish. How are you going to weather strip this thing? What kind of lock sets? And there's a difference between a latch set and a lock set. A lock set has a lock in it. A latch set does not. A latch set is just like your interior doors with no locks on them. Okay. Do you need panic hardware? What does your code tell you? You know what panic hardware is. That's, oh my God, I got to get out of the building. Hit the push bar and the door opens. Okay. Kick plates. Nothing aggravates me more to put a pull bar on the push side of the door. But people do that. Okay. If the door is to be pushed to go through it, then you need a push plate. If it's to be pulled, then you put a pull bar on it. Unless it's a two-way swinging door. All right. Hardware locations. This is very, very important. This goes back to ADA. It goes back to, well, here's your ADA guidelines. Okay. Again, you need to check your most recent code and your most recent ADA. In Appendix A of the book, or this book, the easiest thing to do is go to the current ADA guidelines. You can find that online, and it will tell you where all this stuff needs to be at. Okay, center line of door pull or push bar, the center line of the striker lock set. Okay, that's so the person in a wheelchair can get to it. Again, you have to check your building code and the current ADA guidelines. Center line for striker deadbolts or deadlocks. He calls them deadlocks. I call them a deadbolt. Again, your mileage is going to vary on this, depending on your current codes and have they altered any of the ADA regulations. Your door manufacturers, if you've got a good one, can guide you through this also. If you're working for a big architectural firm, there'll be people who specialize in doors and windows. I've already said that. All right, let's get down here. All right, door hand conventions. Nothing peeves me off more than getting this screwed up. All right. Door hand conventions are used in specifying door hardware such as lock sets and closures. The terms right and left assume a view from the exterior of the building or room to which the door leads. All right. The exterior of the building or the room. All right. Left hand. The door opens inward. This is a left-hand inward opening. That means the hinges are on the left side of the door as you face the door. All right. Left-hand reverse. Now he uses reverse as opposed to outward opening, and that's fine. I don't care. All right. Again, as long as everybody's on the same page, it's left hand because the hinges are on the left. All right. The door opens outward and it hinges on the left. Let's go back up here. Here's a right hand door. The door opens inward and the hinges are on the right. You're standing in the exterior of the building or the room and the hinges are on the right and it swings in. All right. Now I would call that a right hand inward opening. He's making some assumptions here, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as everybody's on the same page. And your door schedule delineates all of this. So your contractor who's bidding the job, your door manufacturers who's bidding the job, and you are all on the same page. Here's a right-hand door. Hinges are on the right, and it opens outward. Okay, he calls it a reverse swing, and considering it residential structures, the door swing in, this would be a hand reverse. But if it's a commercial building, it's supposed to swing out, because if there's a fire in here, people got to get out. All right. The door outward hinges on the right. The door opens outward, and it hinges on the right. Now, let's look at something else. Assuming I get the right one. Here we go, exterior door measurements. Exterior door measurements. All right, this came from Home Depot's website. Here's the link. They've got videos on how to install these pre-hung doors. They've got all kinds of stuff. All right, I'm not saying this is the end-all do-all, but this gives you a place to go and look what's readily available right now. All right, your mileage may vary. Your door manufacturer may use Ching's as opposed to Home Depot's. All right, this talks about the door entry. Okay, your rough opening. So the nominal door size. So if it's a 30-inch door, or if it's a 3 foot, 80-inch, or a 3 foot, 8-foot door, this is your rough opening. All right, recommended rough opening size, and that's your recommended. Okay, the image below is from Home Depot's website. They define the terms different from Ching. They use in-swing and out-swing and switch the nomenclature of the left and right hand. Be careful. You will get the wrong door. The safest thing to do is to do a door and window schedule and write tight, very tight specifications. I give examples of what you're looking for. All right, so let's look at this. All right, let's see if we can blow this up. Yeah, that's good. All right, Home Depot uses in-swing. Okay, well, the door's swinging in, right? Now, here they say it's a left-hand in-swing. It's viewed from the exterior of the home. The left-hand in-swing has the hinges on the left and swings into the home. All right, that's consistent with what we already talked about with with Ching, right? Here's a left hand, opens inward, left hand inward open, hinges are on the left. Okay, here's a right hand in-swing as viewed from the exterior of the home. A right hand in-swing has the hinges on the right and swings into the home. Okay, well, that's consistent with this, right? Now let's look over here. Here's a left-hand outswing as viewed from the exterior of the home. A left-hand outswing has the hinges on the right and swings out from the home. And this has a right-hand outswing as viewed from the exterior of the home. A right-hand outswing has the hinges on the left and swings out from the home. You see how this can get confusing and get your contractor and you in a, well, this is what you said, and no, this is what I meant. So you have to be careful. So let's just presume that Home Depot's the end-all do-all for our pre-hung doors that we're going to buy for our project. Well, when you order this from Home Depot, you're going to have to figure out what you want. And then you use your terminology or you use their terminology, or you translate from Greek to Latin. Everybody needs to be on the same page. All right? So if this is your standard detailing here, and this is your door schedule definitions, then you're going to have to translate this, right? because this is a right-hand outswing, in my opinion, for me, even though the hinges, well, the hinges are on the right, okay, but they call it a left-hand outswing. They're switching, okay, instead of having it left or right, depending on where the hinges are, now they're doing where the lock set is, okay, and instead of calling this a left-hand outswing, they're calling it a right hand, all right, because the latch set's on the right. Anyway, I hope I've made my point. You have got to get your definition straight. And if you're leading the project and you're designing the project, the safest thing to do is have a door schedule. And to me, this is the simplest. Ching is the simplest way to do it. Left hand is where the hinges are. Right hand is where the hinges are. And even the village idiot knows that if the hinges are on the right, then the latch set, lock set's going to be on the left side of the door, whether it swings in or out. That tells your contractor and your door manufacturer where to put the bloody hinges and where to bore the hole for the lock set. All right? Okay. I think I have made my point. Have I made my point? I hope so. Now, I know what y'all are thinking. Well, what about the test? We're going to use Ching's definitions for any questions for the exam, okay? Now, if you go to Home Depot and you go to buy pre-hung doors, you're going to have to speak Home Depot, or you're not going to get the right door. Or they're going to say one's in stock and it's really not. So, again, is there any difference between potato and potato? In this case, yes. Got to be careful. The last thing you want to do is order a bunch of doors, have them shipped out, and the contractor's going, this is not going to match your plans. And that contractor's going to start hitting you with change orders, which drives the cost of your structure up, and it makes you look like a goober. And we don't want to be goobers. We want to be great architectural designers and contractors. So it's very, very important. Okay, so be careful. Be careful. Get your definition straight. And the same with windows. We'll get to windows later. All right. Okay, I think I beat this up enough. Don't you think so? I think I beat this up enough. All right. Hardware finishes. You can get your hardware finished in just anything you can afford. I'm a big, I like satin stainless steel because it seems to work longer down here in this climate. But your mileage may vary, and you may not want satin stainless steel. You may want black anodized stainless steel or whatever. That really doesn't matter. But the potato thing about the door conventions is important. Okay, so I thought you'd get a kick out of that. All right, door hinges. I will put this whole thing up on D2L for you. All right, let's get to door hinges. All right. The pin and the knuckle may be removable for some hinges. Some hinges have captured pins because you don't want to be driving these pins out and take the door off and break into the house. So, butt hinges are composed of two plates or leaves joined by a pin and secured to the abutting surfaces of wood and hollow metal doors and door jambs. Full mortise hinges have both leaves fully mortised into the abutting surface. This is a full mortised. Okay, most of your doors are fully mortised. All right, the jamb's mortised and the door's mortised. And you take the mortise. If you're doing this, if this is a slab door and you're doing it on site, then you're going to set the mortise jig on the door and then transfer that to the jamb and get your dimensions straight. Well, I'm talking about contracting now, constructing. All right. He gives you some rules of thumb for the dimensions here. Hinge sizes. There's different door thicknesses and your door width and your recommended hinge height. And this just is for the weight of the door. And it'll depend on whether the door's solid core, how much the door weighs. That's why I'm a big proponent for pre-hung doors. You let that door manufacturer, who has to guarantee everything, decide how it needs to be constructed. And they ship the doors pre-hung out, and you can hang them in your rough opening. And that includes the interior doors. All right. Then all you got to do is come in and put the latch and lock sets in. You can get special purpose hinges. Okay. And we call these a butt hinge because they just butt up. These are special purpose hinges. And there's all kinds of names for these. Parliament hinges have T-shapes. Olive knuckles. Spring hinges. They have a spring inside here, and you can adjust the tension. And this is a piano hinge. And you've got double acting hinges. That permits the door to swing in either direction. You got invisible hinges. You may see these on some high-end cabinet work in kitchens and on doors. This is a fully mortised in. It's fully mortised in the stiles of the door and the jamb, and as long as they're installed properly, they work pretty good. These are invisible hinges. They consist of a number of flat plates, and they rotate about a central pin back in here. But this is more expensive. All right. And then floor hinges are used with the mortise pivot at a door head to enable the door to swing in either direction. And it may be provided with a closer mechanism. Okay. That's like the folding doors. It's a hinge down on the floor, and it lets the door swing, and there'll be one up on the head. All right. Okay. Here we get into lock sets, and how much money can you spend depending on what the quality of these things are. All right. Lock sets are manufactured assemblies of parts making up a complete locking system. Now, there's a difference between a lock set and a latch set. A lock set has a lock in it that locks the door. A latch set just has a non-lock and a handle that latches the door. So we're going to look at some terminology that's important. Okay, it's important to me anyway, especially when I'm putting in a lock set or having to actually bore a slab door, or when you buy these. The manufacturer is gonna ask for some. It's gonna tell you what the dimensions are. All right. Now you got a 3/8 inch clearance for hinges. Okay. Why that's over here, I have no idea. But minimum style for levered handles is 3 inches. If you're gonna put a levered handle in, remember that we're looking down inside the cut of the door. All right. The back set is important. This is important. It refers to the horizontal distance from the face through the bolt passes to the center line of the lock cylinder. The back set. When you go buy one of these, it's going to give you the variation of what the back set is. Some of them will have spacer in there, and they may have 2 of these. And that's the distance between here and the center of that hole. Okay, that's your back set. They all have a back set. Now this is a mortise lock. The whole door is mortised out for everything, and this stuff is set in, and then you set your deadbolt in, um, and it's screwed in. This is one big integral piece. Okay, this is a unit and integral lock. You see these on commercial buildings, this and that. Okay, so this is mortised out, and then the whole thing is set in and then attached. And here is your lock set. Now this is your deadbolt, and then you'd put your handle through there. This is a cylinder lock. You see most of these in residentials. It'll be a cylinder lock. There's your cylinder in there. These pieces come apart, and you slide these. You slide that in, and then reassemble this, and make sure you got the exterior and interior side right. If not, somebody can come in and pull that knob off. Usually this is fixed, captured, and the interior knob is what slides out, then the whole cylinder slides out, and that way it keeps somebody from the outside from popping this edge of the cylinder off. So this is the captured side of the cylinder, because that's exterior, and this is interior. This is exterior, and this is interior. And that's the interior. This has a captured pin. You push it, and that slides out, and then the cylinder will slide out from the exterior side. Then you can pull this off. All right, but that back set difference, and every one of these manufacturers will have dimension details with their lock set or latch set. On a typical cylinder lock, Ching says 2 3/8, which is standard. If you want a heavy duty, it goes back another to 2 3/4 of an inch. And here's your back sets for these, and your back sets for these. Again, your mileage may vary depending on what the manufacturer for these commercial mortise locks do. Now, as you can see, this unit and integral lock, you got to mortise out that stile, which makes that door weaker. So you got to be careful with the mortise cut. You don't want to have too much space in there. These are strong. You screw this up though, there's no undoing it. You've got to get your dimensions right, and you set that jig up so you can drill for your cylinder lock, and then that has to be mortised out. Pretty much get one bite at the apple on that. And this is the advantage of going with a pre-hung door system, and you can specify pre-hung with these latch sets and lock set dimensions cut, and then your pre-hung door will have, they'll tell you what your back set is. All right, doorknobs. Okay, they can be latch sets or lock sets. If they got a lock in them, they're a lock set. If they don't have a lock, they're a latch set. Knobs refers to a round or square ornamental plate. The escutcheon is a protective ornamental plate that goes on the outside. Here's your escutcheon. This is a flat escutcheon. This is a round escutcheon. You use escutcheons around plumbing pipe going through walls. Also, there's your knob, and there's the projection of the knob. Now, for people with bad arthritis, the grip becomes a problem as they get older. So people want to go to the lever handles, and we talked about lever handles before. In bear country, you don't want a lever handle on the outside of your house, unless you just make sure that your deadbolt's always locked. If not, you're going to have a bear in your house. They'll take that big paw and slap that thing down, push that door in, and just like that Sasquatch dog my wife bought, he's learned to hit that outside lever and open that door. Just can't train him to close it. Um, and it's great for people with disabilities or arthritis. Um, and for, I mean, I'm getting arthritis at 69, but I can still do a doorknob. But still, these are quite convenient. You can go up to the door, drop that hand on there, and you don't have to do the twisting. You got an armload of stuff, put an elbow on it, drop it, push the door in. Pull handles and push plates. Um, I've already said nothing aggravates me more than to put a pull handle on the push side of the door. Um, it's like they're playing games with you. So push plate means you just push it. And that's why they call it a push plate. It is rocket science, isn't it? And there's a pull handle. It means you pull it. All right. ADA accessible guidelines. This is important. Always check your ADA. If it was up to me, everything would be designed ADA. I have 3-foot doors in my house, 4-foot doors for the exterior, blah blah blah. But I'm not in charge of the world. Door handle pulls, latches, locks should be easy to grasp in one hand without tight grasping, pinching, or twisting of the wrist. Thus, the levers. Force required for pushing open or pulling open a door should be no greater than 5 pounds. So you may need to have some ADA assisting on it. I mean, again, you might want to spend at least a couple hours in a wheelchair and try to navigate doors and stuff and see what it's like. It's quite eye-opening. I'm trying to put together an ADA wheelchair compliant welding station in the welding lab. I want to get that done this year. Panic hardware enclosures. Let's see. Okay, we'll do panic hardware enclosures and then close this out. All right, panic hardware enclosures. There's a panic door. You've seen these. They're on gymnasiums, schools, commercial buildings, emergency exits and stairwells. And this is an exposed vertical rod. All that means is that the hinge and pintle points go up to the rods, and you can see the rods on the outside. There's an advantage to this because they're easy to maintain. You can lubricate them, and they have the least overall life cycle maintenance, in my opinion. All right, they don't look as pretty. All right, so here's again minimum style dimensions. That gives you some structural stuff to hang the hardware on. There's your vertical rods. They attach to the top and the bottom. Up through the head and then down at the base of the threshold or the slab. What's he saying? The width and direction of swing and location required for exit doors are also regulated by building code. This is a very true statement. You've got to check your building code. You've got to check that building code. This will be your exit, and they'll also require an exit sign up here. Panic hardware, it's just called that. Oh my God, something bad's happening in the building. Everybody runs out, hits the door, boom, and out they go. All right. And here's the definition of panic hardware. Panic hardware. All right. Good rule of thumb is to always keep it at waist height, so that way if your hands are full, you're carrying a baby or somebody or some injured person out, you can hit it with the hip and knock that door open. This is a concealed lateral latching. ADA SSB guidelines, again, the force required for pushing open or pulling open a door should be no greater than 5 pounds. 5 pounds is not much. If you're into metric stuff, it's 22.2 newtons. That's not a fig newton, that's force newton. All right. For ADA, 3 foot 6 inches in nominal bar height. Narrow projection is 4 to 5 inches. normal projection, I'm sorry, and then the narrow projection, how far it projects out, is 2 5/8. I think a normal projection is probably a good, safe rule of thumb to follow. I mean, you're only talking a couple of inches here. All right. What that means is it's sticking out. Okay. So you can get to it quicker. For an ADA deal, the further out you can stick it, the safer you're going to be. That way the person in a wheelchair doesn't have to slide sideways, push it, and then try to turn, assuming that it takes less than 5 pounds to open a door. All right. The minimum door thickness, he calls 1 1/4 or 1 3/4 for mortise locks, for rim top locks. And again, this is your door manufacturer. When you get with your door manufacturer, you're going to have these on a commercial job. Let's just face it. A door closure, all that means is it's a mechanism that when the door is open, it closes. Now, for ADA compliant, these are automatic. Some of them work. We've got some that around the campuses that are a maintenance problem. They always seem to be needing to be repaired. Automatic openers and closers are expensive. The normal closure is not an opener. It's just a closer. When you push through the door closes back behind you. There's a tension regulator up here at the head, and it will give the rate of closure back. As they get older, you have to retension them. Go up here and adjust. There's a screw up here in the bottom, and so it puts more closure tension on it. So that's the closure mechanism. Surface mounted at the door head or the top jamb. Concealed is within the head, and it's mounted on the push side or the pull side. A back check device can slow the speed with which a door may open. That's another regulator that's in here that gives you some resistance on opening so that the door doesn't fly open and then slowly close. A coordinator ensures that the inactive leaf of a pair of doors is permitted to close before the active leaf. That's for this up here. So you've got 2 of these with closures on it, okay? So you want them both to close. And so whichever one's become active, whichever one's the passive or the coordinator, and that means that the doors don't overlap one another. They don't butt into one another when they're trying to close up. Closers for glass entrance doors may be concealed within the floor construction, but that means you've got to have a pocket down here if this is a concrete floor. And so if it's a glass door, it's hidden. You don't have this up here putting a lot of moment or torque on that glass panel. Building codes, this is very important. Require the use of self-latching and self-closing doors with UL rated hardware to protect openings and firewalls and occupancy separations. All right. Your closers can be hydraulic or pneumatic that automatically close doors quickly but quietly. They help reduce the shock a large heavy used door would otherwise transmit upon closing on its frame, hardware, and surrounding walls. You know, and slam the thing, bam, is what it's talking about. Okay, read through all of this, and don't forget the terminology up here for the inward-outward swinging. It might save you some headache in a future job. Just define it up front. All right, we'll pick up on weather stripping. How much time we burned up? Oh yeah, 49 minutes. That's good enough. All right, so this is going to be 8.3. This will be video 8.3. We'll pick up on 8.3 with weather stripping.